If, we're going to start a regular schedule program in a minute, so we can wrap up the conversation and find a place to see. Okay. You're doing what I asked you. We're going to start
How are you doing? Good, how are you? Good to come back. I miss you so much. You get tired? I think I like a man said I really want to do it. I need to take it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, is that?
Oh, I was like, I may have said that. I was like, how are you?
Sorry. No worries.
So, I want to do it right.
See, we don't go anywhere, okay? Because we're going to have you tell us a little bit about your organization. You can go ahead and stay at your results over here. So, thank you for being here, everyone. A great turnout. We had a good response from the community-based organizations. We got a couple of no-shows, but still is a great turnout. So today I'm going to be Patrick and Wes. And Lauren's going to be Lauren, and everybody else, because Lauren does a lot, so that's why it just takes her to be her. And Carol, she does so much, she has so much energy, and she was so hard that it takes pretty much the rest of us to be Carol. What we're going to do now, we're going to have each community-based organization spend a minute or so telling us about what the organization does, and hopefully there are some synergies there with what we're trying to do. As you know, we're trying to address the social determinants of health in our different communities within the GCACH region, and these organizations are going to play a key role in addressing those needs. Can everyone on the phone hear us okay? Is there anyone on the phone?
I'll tap.
Okay. All right, we're going to have the CDOs share what their organizations do, what the services are. And we're going to have communities and schools go first. So go ahead and take us out of there.
So we're going to present it Kiwanis, so we thought we'd go first. So communities and schools, so we're in 26 schools this year, so we're very excited how fast we're growing. So it's a paid staff member in the school all day. So they're in the school and seen by the staff and the students as part of the school. So the reality is because they're not part of the school, that we're a separate organization, they have flexibility that school staff don't have. So if a kid's having a challenge, if they need someone to help them learn how to navigate the system, they come to us. And so our staff, I think of them as navigators in the school. And, we're doing so well that Chiawana asked to bring a second site coordinator this year. So right now, the 26 schools is a single person, but in Chiawana, we have a second person. And what else do I need to include? So the top tier for us is that we do a school-wide support. So at the beginning of the year, we meet with the school, we say if it's what in the 3 areas of academics, attendance, or behavior, what area do you want us to support you around? And then, say the attendance will then work that whole year with programs to try to increase the attendance. And then, maybe later in the year, there'll be a youth that's challenge around attendance. We'll meet with the youth, maybe we'll meet with a basic need, but in that conversation, we'll talk to them about the challenges in their house. We'll find out there's a mental health issue, and then we'll connect the family, we'll connect the youth to services. So we're not providing the service, we're the navigators. So we're working with all the agencies in the community as we connect. Okay, because we really know the kids need a trusted helps them navigate the system that they don't understand that they're overwhelmed.
Can you introduce yourself?
So Luca Hay, our executive director, and Mark Lee, our development director. Sure, okay. So it started in 1977, so it's been around a little more than 40 years. Across the nation, we served over 1.5 million youth. In this community, last year, we served about 11,000 youth, and we case managed about 670 youth. When we look at the numbers for high school students that have 670 case managed, 97% of those stayed in school. So amazing how communities. Thank you.
Luca, you want to say anything?
Hello, Lupe. Good morning, yes. So, yeah, Mark pretty much just summed it up. Right now, currently, we are in 26 schools, and we have 27 site coordinators in 4 school districts, including Foster. So we started with 9, so we're pretty, expanding pretty quickly, and we've only been around for 4 years. So we get requests to expand all the time, which is a testament to the site coordinators and their great work in the school. But yeah, we're very, very thankful for our community and the community partnerships that we have that really help boost the work that we do.
All right, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do we have here? Okay.
I'm going to give it a Good morning, I'm Corey Blythe with Southeast Washington Aging and Long-Term Care. We're one of 13 designated area agencies on aging in the state of Washington. Our area agency covers all of the counties we have here with Greater Columbia, with the exception of Whitman, that was reserved for our Spokane Area Agency on Aging. And how we do, what an area agency in the state of Washington is mandated to support a comprehensive network of services for those 60 and older in their communities. And how we do that as an area agency is that we contract and provide direct services in each of your communities. So the services that you may be familiar with are our direct services, are our Aging and Disability Resource Center, and that's navigation, coordination, helping people with things as simple as information referral and advocacy for services, helping them access if they present needing meals. We might help them connect with home delivered meals, or social isolation. We help them connect with those services that are available in their communities. And what's so important to us is we have offices in all of the counties, and that really does make a difference in partnerships because they get to know each other. So we provide the Aging and Disability Resource Center. We also are a health home lead. We provide Title 19 case management. That's for individuals who qualify for Medicaid services and functional eligibility. They're on in-home care programs and our family care support programs. The programs that are most known in our communities and we're most proud of as well are the services that we contract with and all those amazing partnerships that we have in the communities. And some of those that you may be familiar with are our chronic care disease management program, care coordination, foot care, family caregivers, some of those services, such as we contract with agencies to provide respite, housekeeping and errands, durable medical equipment, counseling. We also have fall prevention programs in some of our communities. Sales, our sales class just started in Garfield County last week. We have that in Columbia as well. We also contract for senior legal services, senior nutrition, our favorite, senior transportation, another favorite, and adult day health and adult day care services, just to name a few. I'm going to do a mock and say sorry with the matter. People, and we are a non-profit organization. Our head office is in Yakima, and we have been providing services throughout Eastern Washington, the proud state, since 1965. And our mission at People for Peace is very simple. We want to improve lives, and we want to strengthen communities. And we know through this forum here today, the way that we can do that is addressing those social determinants of need. And we have 5 key programs that we deliver through people for people locations. 1 is employment and training services at different workforces. 2 is special needs transportation, where we assist those who do not have access to transportation. We know that's been a constant discussion in our group here. So we
help those who are elderly or folks with disabilities to get to significant appointments like doctors, dentists, and social service appointments, or even being able to go grocery shopping. So important. We also, through our broker department, help Medicaid recipients with transportation assistance to their non-emergency medical appointments. And we help them through either a gas voucher or mileage reimbursement. I find everywhere I go in the community, people want to know about that. And as we know, we are trying to help our Medicaid recipients through this coalition. So this is a great resource to share with them. We also provide a comprehensive Meals on Wheels program. And then we manage one of the 7 211 call centers in Washington State. So many of you know me in the room as the 211 outreach coordinator here for Benton Franklin, and we appreciate the partnerships that we have throughout our different communities to advocate that number. It's a national community resource line. It gets us connected to all those resources in the town that we live in. And we're also a key partner for disaster relief with the American Red Cross. When communities are impacted by fire, flood, hurricanes, we have our call center stay open 24/7 to actually help get folks to safety, to shelter, access to food and water. So that's an important number to remember for those situations as well. So the last thing I wanted to highlight is at 211, at People for People, we're very dedicated to eradicating food insecurity in our community, something we've talked about a lot here as well. And so we are one of 2 master contractors in Washington State with the FHS to help folks apply for food stamps by phone, or the SNAP program, as some of you may know. So that eliminates the office visit and the paperwork, and that really helps our community out. The one last thing I wanted to mention is we are a key partner in advocating adverse childhood experiences education in the community here in Benton Franklin. We're a key partner with Benton Franklin Health District, and we are throughout other counties. So if you have any questions, please approach myself and my colleagues here today. Please feel free to pick up information here, or you can just simply call 211 because all our resources are listed in there. Okay, thank you.
So I'm Carla from Benton Franklin Health District. I'm the senior manager there, and we have 2 tables here, but really the one table is really to focus on average childhood experiences. We're going to ask us to have a place where we potentially have some conversation and increase some awareness and education on ACEs as a social determinant of health. And so Benton Franklin Health District, along with our wonderful partners at 211 and Communities in Schools, act more like a backbone organization to have community conversations, raise awareness about average childhood experiences and the implications on chronic disease, struggles with schools, and other long-term issues. So we're happy to share more information. Many of you know about ACEs. Our local schools and behavioral health partners have been very engaged in this work with us for the last several years. Our medical community is not so much, quite frankly, and we're really having folks understand the impact on ACEs and other social determinants of health is one of the primary reasons we're all here partnering with ACH of that whole 80%. And so we want to make sure that medical professionals are aware, potentially asking the questions, using some resources, and really understanding those long-term cumulative effects of adversity on brain development and I'm in that leader focus team. As a health district public health entity, we will have one in every county or by county in the state of Washington. So we have many public health agencies that are partners with the ACH. We all do a variety of community services. 2 important things I want to share are the care coordination we have at our agency is primarily focused on children's special health care needs and HIV positive clients. So those are 2 big case management programs that we care coordinators in the community. And as part of chronic disease prevention, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa so she can highlight our chronic disease and diabetes health management program.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Lisa Gonzalez, and we have the diabetes health management, also in Spanish, and we initiated this program in 2015, licensed through the Stanford University Research Center, and that we follow curriculum with, and the In 3 years, we've done 4 Navy retrainings. Out of those 4 Navy retrainings, we've trained 42 volunteers that participate classes with us. Actively, we have about 10 to 15, and 6 out of the 42 were from Okanagan County and Adams County. So we're welcome to have, staff or people, come from other counties to get trained here. So we are coordinating our leader trainings next year, and we have partnered with communities, the churches, with centers in our both bi-counties. So we've gone out to Dent City, Foster, Richmond, Kennewick, and Pasco has been more of a prominent area that we've focused. Lutheran Church, St. Pat, Midland Library, those all have opened doors for us to come out and facilitate classes there. So pretty much we are very passionate about what we're doing for the community, and along with me is the leaders. So we're just here to provide the students and please take a flyer. We're pretty much word of mouth right now, and we do a lot of marketing through TV, through radios, and community outreach. So, thank you all.
I'd say Linda's a great teacher. I was one of her students this summer. I attended the class, and I had a doctor's appointment 2 weeks ago, and my A1C was the lowest in 10 years. So thanks a lot for listening. Okay, with that, when I talk about the table here, Paul's point. You're going to say it. Or you're going to show your material.
Hello, everybody. My name is Scott Karsbeck. I'm currently the medical officer for the Richland Fire Department. And before I talk about Pulse Point, I'll just give you a brief overview of how the emergency services work here in the Tri-Cities. Can everybody hear me out there?
Yes.
So we have a combination in Benton and Franklin counties of municipalities, fire departments. We have Richland, Pasco, Kennewick. Pasco is represented here today. We don't have a representative from Kennewick. In addition to that, we have fire districts, Benton and 2, which is Benton City, West Richland. So all the emergency services in the Tri-Cities, as far as ambulance transport, are accomplished by the fire departments here, which is a little bit different if you're from Yakima. It's a little bit different up there. So our mission and goal is to protect and enhance the quality of life. And we've always done that, and we've always done a pretty good job of 911 response, responding to people and taking them to the hospital. Where we see the future evolving in EMS is that in addition to providing those emergency services, community paramedicine we're on the leading edge of that here in the Tri-Cities right now. We're really excited about the prospects of being able to bring that type of care in to the Tri-Cities area. So in addition to providing emergency response, we hope to be able to proactively respond to the community, and because we're in a position to see the social determinants of health that people need when we respond on 911 calls. So we're looking forward to the opportunity, working with the ACH and building a regional community paramedic program. So that being said, I'm here today. I won't talk too much about it, but I just ask you to come over and see me at my table. Pulse Point is an application that is free to download on your telephone, on your smartphone, and it can help you save a life. It can help you it will notify you if you're within a half mile of a cardiac arrest that occurs in a public space. In hopes that you'll respond and provide chest compressions until EMS can get there, thereby giving that individual a better chance of surviving the event. So I'd encourage you all to come over to the table and talk to me about it and download it on your phone. Thank you.
Now we're going to go to Yakima Neighborhood Health.
Thank you. My name is Annette Rodriguez. I'm the Yakima Neighborhood Health Homeless Services Director.
And I want to tell you about our services at Neighborhood Health. We're a community health care clinic, so we have medical, dental, pharmacy, and lots of other services. But one of the services I really want to feature today is some of the things that we do in terms of basic needs. So we have a resource center, and we call it Neighborhood Connections, where we also have our healthcare for the homeless dedicated site. At that same resource center is where we screen and do assessments for individuals who might have concerns about basic needs. And so when we assess them, they're not really sure what they need or what kind of help they might need. But our staff are well versed in the services that we have underneath our umbrella and get them what they need. A couple of other services that I want to talk about directly is one of the special programs that we have in our Healthcare for the Homeless program is our respite program. And our respite program, if you're not familiar with it, is for homeless individuals who are literally homeless, who are too sick to be out on the street and not sick enough to be in the hospital. And many of our homeless individuals need a place to recuperate, need a place to recover and get well. So that's what the respite program does, is it provides them a safe, warm place. We're providing meals for them, and we're providing them with daily care in terms of things that they could do if they were home. And so we bring in special services like case management. We also bring in our behavioral health therapists and do assessments as needed. And if those individuals need care coordination, then that also happens at the same time. The other service that I like to talk about is our space. Not very many people are familiar with space. Space is an LGBTQ resource center that we also have in our community. Just recently, I think it's probably almost 2 years, we have a place where youth can come and visit us, ages 13 to 23, if they're just needing a safe place to come out, a safe place to be while they're transitioning or going through maybe certain things. Yes, we come to our table, we have flyers, we have good stories to share. If you have any additional questions, please come to the team. You provide lots of other additional services that we're really proud to share. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. If you don't know me, Jorge Rivera, Director of Community Engagement for Molina Healthcare in the state of Washington. It's been 4 years since we met in Walla Walla for the first time in the very first meeting of the Greater Columbia ATH. We were about 15 people back then, and it's so great to see how this has grown into a massive community-focused organization that is trying to move healthcare forward. It's really very almost emotional for me to see so many faces that we met 4 years ago, 3 years ago, to today. I think most of you are familiar with Molina, the largest Medicaid managed organization in the state. We are helping about 50% of all people in Medicaid today. The same is very Columbia with the largest, but we're also the largest by choice. In the last 4 years, members can choose their Medicaid plan and they've chosen Molina over 50%. We also were privileged to have won first place for integrated managed care all across the state in the 10 different counties in the Greater Columbia. So we're prepared right now to move into integrated managed care as of 1/1/2019. I think, as you're familiar with Molina, I think the message I want to send today is about what we're seeing today. It's different organizations and different forces of health improvement coming to the table at the same time. I think this is what the ATH is about, is to integrate things that before were on the silos or were on specific projects. So I believe it's about coming to the table and being part of this. Nobody should be excluded, but everybody who can come should be coming to attend the activities of the Greater Columbia ATH, and to look for ways to partner. Because it's very important. I'm very happy to be here, and I know others are not here today, but we have been constantly attending the activities of the Greater Columbia ATH, and we're constantly being looking for partnerships on different things. We have one that, and we're looking into joining the rescue program. Looking at Everett, and we've been trying to provide support to the program like he does with Blue Mountain. This is about being part of all these partnerships. Molina has a lot to bring to the table, not only because we're large and have lots of members, but also because we want to belong to those programs and to contribute with our case management, with our health homes program. Is one of the key programs across the state. We see most of the larger number of members on health homes, and those are people connections and help from everything we do here, from the care management we provide to those housing supports, to addiction recovery, to housing, etc. So I think this is very important. For us, news we share today is we're preparing for integrated managed care. We will be calling, we will be partnering in a whole set of different ways, as we have done in Southwest of Washington for almost 3 years now. We know that the partnership with housing agencies, that the partnerships with sheltering and food security are fundamental to reduce the number of ED visits and to finally start the process to recovery of the people who experience behavioral health issues and addiction issues. So us partnering is key for us, and we need to dedicate more resources to that. I'm happy to say that we are hiring more people for Greater Columbia area. We have a new supervisor of care coordination, and we have a new director of healthcare services. Our new director of healthcare services for Eastern Washington, her name is Misty Kuzman. She's based over Spokane, and I personally vouch for her because she's a nurse on the friendship kind of nurse. These type of nurses that you know many that are, underneath the bridges and they're working with Everett and the funding folks and trying to get them better. And she's now our director of healthcare services, so she'll be an important partner for us in Greater Columbia. We just named a new supervisor of care management. Her name is Melody Roy. She's also a nurse. She's located here in the Greater Columbia area, and she will be working for you guys. So please don't see MCOs as failures only, because yes, we pay for things, but we're more like partners, and we want to be partners of yours in the programs that you have to offer. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paige Fregoso, and I'm the communication specialist for Greater Columbia. So if you guys have any questions or partnering, I'm the person to look for to go to. Thank you.
So my name is Tim Anderson. I'm from American Disability. So what we do is we actually partner with entities, healthcare providers that work with those that qualify for Social Security disability. So Social Security disability is those that you guys are probably very familiar with, just because a lot of people that we serve are those that should be applying or are already on. But for individuals that are 64 or younger that have not worked enough to be able to work at least 12 months due to their health conditions, be it physical or mental. So that's individuals that are adults, all the way down to children, and it helps with individuals and then brings some income into their household. The benefit it really has for these individuals is, number one, is it can actually, the income that it can bring in, and I don't know if you guys know this, Social Security disability or this type of program, SSI, which we're familiar with also, is that there's no other benefit program out there that pays as much as this program does. Although the state of Washington, which we're a part of, is one of the best states that gives the most robust benefits to those that are disabled and in need, comparative to those that are in this region, Pacific Northwest. They can only pay up to about $200 in cash benefits. Social Security disability can pay up much higher than that, and if they have a work history, can actually exceed much more than $9,000 a year. So this is a program that helps these individuals get them stable income and be able to help them down the road to get the resources they really do need, hopefully get healthier. I mean, a lot of those that talked here today has talked about those that have been homeless and so forth, and everybody knows in social determinants of health, one of the basic needs is housing, it's food, it's something that's consistent. And when you have a program like this, as you guys all know, there's a lot more housing available to them to become much more attractive to be able to get those necessary resources that they really do need in the community, other than some of those grants that are out there. And so we work with entities to help screen, educate, and then represent them to apply for Social Security disability. We recently have seen a working relationship with Molina, for example, and helping their members and identifying them and helping them from the ground up all the way going forward. And so, again, contact us, and we can be able to help through the whole process and be able to see how we can help your patients or your members or your customers that you guys serve, how we can be able to help them go down this road and be able to get some more consistent income in their life.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Gioli.
I'm the Director of Donor Relations for Second Harvest nonprofit. So we are a nonprofit that's based on Pasco and Spokane, but we serve 26 counties. So we are leading the hunger relief program right now, especially we have been working in Washington State and Idaho since 1971. So it is our mission to fight hunger and feed hope by bringing community resources together to help empower, educate, and change the lives of those in need. So we also believe in providing healthy foods every day. So we use that vision with our programs of fight to-go kits for kids in schools, mobile budgets, which we don't ask people to provide anything that says that they're in need, just to get people off their feet. We teach nutrition classes to help teach people, here's some food, and here's what to do with it. Here's how you cook it. Here's how you use it to be healthy. And we love working with healthcare just because we believe in that education. So people, and we would help end that cycle, help give them what they need to change their life. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bill Dixon. I'm with Washington State University Master Gardeners, and part of our mission is to help people in need for food. And we do that for two reasons in Benton and Franklin counties. One is that we've got 28,000 people in our counties who are food insecure, which is about 10% of our total population. And when you look at children, it's actually 20% of our children are food insecure. Also, in parts of our county, we have what are called food districts, where there's limited access to healthy foods. We have 15,000 people in our two counties that have limited access to food. So we have been doing this food gardening program now for about 7 years, and there are lots of benefits. According to the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, that obviously the one is food. People have better access to food if they're non-food. People consume more fruits and vegetables if they grow it themselves, particularly kids. They have don't have to go long distances to get food. Oftentimes, they just need to go to the backyard and harvest it. And the food tends to be more nutritious, which contributes to their health. Beyond that, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation also found that food gardening is a significant way to get physical activity and exercise, and that it's good for your mental health. And those of you who are gardeners know going out in the garden makes you feel good. We currently support about 600 low-income and disadvantaged gardeners in the Benton and Franklin counties. And so they're providing food to their families, which are anywhere from about 1,800 to 2,400 people currently benefiting. Our goal in the future is to continue to build gardens for people. We want to build at least 100 new gardening spaces next year for families in need. And we also offer classes for people who have no gardening space, where we teach them how to grow food in containers. Our goal next year is to teach 260 families how to do that. So if you or your organization or you know of anyone who wants to sponsor a food garden or wants to be trained on how to grow food, let us know.
Anything else? Questions?
Good morning, all. I'm going to read from the script because I'm really new to KHCW. I've been with KHCW for 3 weeks. But I love them. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization. Okay, Community Health Plan of Washington provides Apple Health and Medicare managed care services to the people of Washington State. All of our coverage is geared toward a model of care that treats the whole person and fosters trust, compassion, respect, and quality. KHCW is a not-for-profit organization founded in 1992 by a group of community health centers here in Washington State. I'm from the Tri-Cities area, raised in Sunnyside. I always wondered how low-income people could afford health care. Me being a migrant worker, have experience the need for these community-based clinics. Growing up, I went to school in Central Washington, and I remember having a toothache. The worst pain in the world. I compare it to like having a kid. That's how bad it was. And mom and dad, farm workers too, didn't know what to do. I did not know what to do. I didn't have any money. I was living off pop ramen and popcorn. It was a toothache. The first thing I went back home and I told my mom, I can't stand the pain. She's like, well, go to the hospital. Yeah, right. No way was I going to go to the hospital. Because I couldn't afford it. I could barely afford living where I was. So I ended up going to the Yakima Valley Farm Workers Clinic. What a resource all these clinics are. We belong to these community clinics that help the people within our community. I was blessed to, the people at the clinic, they helped me and they filled my tooth because I was a low-income individual. Living in this community, I am so happy that I ended up with CHPW. Just learning and knowing what the organization is about. We work within the community with all these community clinics to provide these resources to the Medicaid members that are in great need of the services, just like I was at some point in my life. I'm really happy to be here and to learn about everybody's organization and be part of this really, really great community. Thank you.
Blue Mountain Heart to Heart.
Thanks, Ruben, for putting this together, and it's really great to hear about what everybody's working on. I love that we all live in a place where we've got so many great charities, nonprofits, CBOs, and everything doing work for all of us. Blue Mountain Heart to Heart was founded in '85, incorporated as a 501c3 in '91. We are the Ryan White Part B case management nonprofit, so we do case management for people living with HIV/AIDS in Walla Walla County, Columbia County, Garfield County, and Stoughton County out to the Idaho border. We have been, the board and I have been working on putting together a case management service for opioid-dependent clients as well, no matter where in that dependency they may be. I feel bad for people who are turning their heads really far. I don't want to give anybody neck pain. So, that average. The idea there is that's what we've written into the opioid demonstration project. The EPH has been trying to look at a more holistic approach to kind of getting people back into care, into primary care, offering them the opportunity to get into medication-assisted therapy. So we're trying to be a part of that solution. The other thing that we've been doing, you may have heard about, we just PASCO opened a syringe exchange in May, and that's our program, our prevention program. So that's an HIV prevention program because it stops the transmission of HIV. It also works really well against hepatitis C. By the way, we've identified, I think, on average, 5 new cases of Hep C just at that PASCO exchange since we opened in May. That's per month, 5 new cases per month. So that's a problem. We're now doing a remote or mobile syringe exchange. It's going to start November 1st in Clarkston. They lost their syringe exchange in 2012 due to budget cutbacks at the state, and we're going to open it back up. So that's going to be weekly on Thursdays at the local health jurisdiction. We're also talking to Yakima Nation about bringing it onto the reservation there. We just got some federal funding to work with Yellow Hawk Clinic down in the Pendleton area in Oregon. So we're going to be doing syringe exchange in 4 counties in Oregon starting in the next month and a half. And we would like to go and return to Dayton, but Columbia County has a moratorium on syringe exchange and harm reduction, so we have to work with those commissioners on that. If you have any ends to those guys, let me know. There's a little election between now and when I'm going to talk to them. But see who they elect. But That's some of the work that we do. We've also been doing naloxone distribution, which is an overdose reversal drug. Just to throw some numbers at you, we opened Pasco in May. We've seen 75 overdose reversals reported to us by those exchanges since May. In Walla Walla, we've had 88 reversals reported to us just this year. So we're somewhere in if every 7 overdoses on average results in a death, that's 22 people who are walking around today who likely would not be without the program. Statewide this year, as part of the federal grant that we do this naloxone program through, we've seen 1,600 reversals statewide. So it's really making a difference. It's giving people another chance to get re-engaged in care, re-engaged with their families and communities. I cannot stress how important harm reduction and syringe exchanges. There's a lot of misinformation out there. If you want better information, I've got 10,000 PowerPoint presentations on this. And I'm happy to talk to anybody about that program. But so for the year between Pasco and Walla Walla, we're at 187,000 syringes exchanged. And do remember, Pasco's only been open since May. So, thank you.
Family Learning Center.
I'm thinking about your next two. So I'm Jean Merle. I'm with the Family Learning Center. I serve on the board and I'm an active volunteer. And the Family Learning Center is an organization that was founded in 2009 to help refugees coming into the Tri-Cities who have no real connections here to thrive in the Tri-Cities. We started with homework help after school programs and basically doing fun things with the families, taking them to the Oregon Zoo, taking them to Silverwood, if the children learn to read and read so many books. And so we did a lot of fun things like that and got to know the community, but we also served as a resource for them. Our executive director met with the schools and became a connection between the schools and the families and monitored the children's progress. In 2012, we became a 501c3, and since then we have added a 21st century learning program, after school learning program for children. We have ESL classes for adults, 4 mornings a week and at 4 levels. We also offer citizenship courses and have done that since early in the beginning. And we this year have added a health ESL class. And I just want to emphasize that as a community, the Tri-Cities is one of the most welcoming to refugees that I have ever seen. And we would welcome any and all of you who are willing to volunteer and help. Our biggest need right now is mentorship of teens. We have a lot of kids who come here in their teens. They only have until age 21 to get the education that they never before. So mentors are crucial to them succeeding. This year we proudly helped add 10 refugee kids who graduated from Kennewick High, all of whom have moved on to CBC. So we're very enriched in this community to have this diversity. And I really encourage you to get to know them because you too will feel how enriched you are. Thank you.
Looking at human services, we have several here. I don't think everyone's going to be able to see way back there.
My name is Matthew Campbell. I'm the Associate District Director for the Kennewick, Columbia Basin Office of Lutheran Community Services. Lutheran Community Services is a nonprofit that operates offices all over the state of Washington, all over Oregon, and every so often in Idaho as funding allows. We are working with whatever the needs of the community are. So different offices specialize in different pieces from aging and long-term care to substance use to mental health. Our local office has been meeting the needs of kids and youth with intensive mental health needs for about 15 years. We work right now with our two programs, SWIFT program, which is a crisis stabilization program for youth 18 and under who've had some kind of mental health or behavioral health crisis where they were at risk of harming themselves or someone else, may have been eligible to be hospitalized, but the family decided they would rather try and keep them in the home and keep them safe there. So we work with them in an intensive way. Our largest program is the Wraparound with Intensive Services program. We're the provider for that program here in Benton and Franklin counties. It's actually a program that has been rolled out statewide. It's been around for about 4.5 years. So in all the non-Benton Franklin County folks, there's a WISE provider somewhere in your county. Those kind of services would be something that you would need. Basically, that is serving kids that are 21 or younger who have intensive mental or behavioral health needs. It's based on a wraparound principle, wraparound principles, working collaboratively with all the systems that may the kid and the family may be involved in. Trying to get every system partner involved so that there is one of the pieces is one family, one plan, so that legal, school, DCFS, mental health, medical providers are all working together off the same plan to support the family and the youth and meeting the needs that they set up, that they choose. And because it's based on the qualifications for the program are based around what's called a CAN, the Child and Adolescent Needs and Strength Assessment. It's not based on diagnosis. It's based on risk factors, behaviors, environmental needs. Granted, most of the youth that would qualify for the program have a diagnosis, even if they've not been diagnosed before, but that's not a qualifying factor. If they meet the risk factors, if they meet the needs, they're eligible for the program. But it is also focused, so identifying needs within the strengths part of that assessment is looking at what are the resources, the relationships, the pieces that the child and the family already have in their lives, and how to leverage them to try and meet the needs, the goals that they have for themselves. So it's not always just about us providing services. There are some services that we do provide, including mental health, behavioral health therapy, but a lot more of it is about working with the family, working with the youth, working with their relationships and people that are already in their lives to help support them in a really better life. So, thanks.
Okay, and last but not least, strengthening families.
Good morning, buenos días, everyone. My name is Ana Maria Diaz Martinez. I am with Washington State University Extension. Extension is a community outreach component of the mothership component. So we work really closely within our community through our networking and our collaboration partners across different social service agencies. One of the programs that we focus on is called Strengthening Families for Parents and Youth Under 14. It's an evidence-based program designed originally to be and still used as a preventative program for alcohol and drug use for youth and built in directly with it as being part of a family-centered program. What we've seen in Washington State, we brought this program here in 2000, and we've been implementing this program, and we have strong evaluation data to show the impact of their community. And so what this looks like on a much bigger, or let's bring it down to a much more macro level, is that I would partner with community health plans, with a lot of the other organizations here who are interested in working with family development, the impact and looking at the strength of the family unit and the needs, but at the same time, how do we help bring families together that are many times environmentally or fractured or being pulled apart? And so our program is designed to and it works very well in addressing the social determinants of health. We have many opportunities where we are able to collectively make an impact in ways not only in that individual family, but within the communities within the area as well. So what we would like to be able to do moving forward and in partnership with our communities is really focusing on how to bring these families together in a place that allows them to learn how to be a family, how to communicate with themselves, helping parents and caregivers develop the skills that they may already have or want to reinforce, but at the same time helping our youth develop these pro-social skills that are necessary for them moving forward in their stage of life. And so that is, I mean, we don't do the program by ourselves. We always do it in collaboration with our community partners. And so we're always looking for community partnerships. That's something you're interested in. By all means, don't hesitate to connect with me. We do, like I said, have some strong data to support its impact. We are able to provide the program in Spanish and in English. Then we have facilitated training where we will work with community organizations or agency personnel who want to go through this program, who then went through the program and we're trying to be a certified facilitator. And this really allows that collaboration to happen not just from the university perspective, but it allows it to go into the community and the community owns that growth and that impact. So thank you so much for this opportunity. That's it for them. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Now we're going to move on to the part of our meeting today where the local health improvement organizations provide a report on their activities and also maybe touch on what social determinants they're starting to identify affecting their regions. For those of you who are not familiar with the ACH or with local health improvement networks, they are a group of professionals that care about the community health that get together and they look for ways to improve their population health. And those of you on this side, you're welcome to stay there or you can join the rest of the meeting over here. But the purpose of having this combination of having new community-based organizations and here when the local health improvement networks are providing the report is to maybe see if there are any synergies there, any affinity between your services and what the local health improvement networks might identify as something that's affecting their community. So hopefully in years to come, this becomes a bigger event and we continue to connect both organizations. So we're going to move on now, and I don't know if I clarified this morning earlier on the reason why Patrick, Wes, Carol, and Diane Taylor are not here. They're all attending a very important community conversation in Providence, Washington, at the Behavioral Health Organization, and Patrick is moderating that conversation. So we're going to have who goes first, Lauren? I think it's Whitman, right?
Should we do introductions first?
Oh, that's right. Thank you for that. Community Tribal Engagement Specialist, and let's then go next to you, Lauren.
Lauren Thompson. I'm with Greater Columbia ACH.
Candace Torres, Yakima Valley Farmers Clinic, and XQHC representative on the government. Ashley Fernandez, Greater Columbia ACH.
Becky Coleman, Greater Columbia ACH. Jenna Shelton, Greater Columbia ACH.
Martin Sanchez, Greater Columbia ACH. Kevin Martin, Kittitas Valley Healthcare.
Jonathan Temple with Canadian Services.
Kiara Foster with Estrella Sunshine Hospital. Haley Middleton, Columbia Basin Health Association.
Kirk Williamson, Benton Franklin Community Health Alliance.
Haley Gertrude, Tennessee Community Health Alliance. I'm Joan John Milton. Sue Jetter, Prospect Memorial Health.
Ron Jetter, Heartland Hospice and Palliative Care.
George Lawrence, Southeast Washington. Madeline Carlson, the People on the Board of Representing Transportation. Marcy Durkin, People on the Transportation. Joyce Mason, People Ann Humble, Michelle Sullivan, Yakima Neighborhood Health. Austin Pedrosa, Yakima Neighborhood Health. Rhonda Hoff, Yakima Neighborhood Health Services, Chair of the Board and representing the Morgan Linder, Wallowa County. Jack Davies, the Northwest Rural Health Network.
Diana Marquez with PHCW.
We're going to do that. That's good. It's your Pasco Fire Department.
Okay, everyone's looking at me, so I guess we're done. Oh, the phone. The phone, oh, that's right. And on the phone, who do we have on the phone? Cicely, you want to go first?
This is Cicely Zorn from QBH.
Hello? Anybody else on the phone?
This is Liz Whitaker from Kittitas County Public Health.
Liz?
I'm having a difficult time hearing everybody, so I don't know how long I'll last, but.
Okay, sorry about that.
And Megan DeBolt, Walla Walla County.
Hey, Megan? Anyone else? Okay. That's all then. Wow, perfect timing. So now the first local health improvement network that's going to present is the Richland County Health Network, and Scott Adams is going to go ahead and do the presentation. Scott, you want to start with your name and what your position is?
I will. Good morning. My name is Scott Adams. I'm the administrator of Pullman Regional Hospital in Pullman and Whitman County, and we're happy to be here today and share with you our work as a health network there in Whitman County and our association with the Greater Columbia County Community Health. So here's the folks that are part of the governance structure of the Whitman County Health Network. It's a pretty diverse group, but sprinkled primarily with providers, primary care providers, and 2 hospitals there in Whitman County, and then some behavioral health folks, as well as the university and the Community Action Center and the Public Health Department. Very happy to have the Aqua Valley Farm Workers as a partner. I'll tell you how they got involved here in just a few minutes. Our memorandum of understanding to organize the network back in 2014 these 3 areas as our goals: to improve family and individual health and well-being, improve access to health and human services, and reduce the cost of care delivery processes so that we can redirect those savings further upstream to help avoid more costly care in the future. Okay. So we do have a leadership council that tries to reach out into the broader county area for a variety of folks who integrate. We just had our first leadership council meeting a couple weeks ago. Ruben and Wes and Carol were there, participated. We appreciated that. But you see the type of organizations that we're trying to integrate into the work of the network as we recognize the diverse nature of how to address all the aspects of care, how to help bring the level of health out to the community isn't just in the medical field. It's actually more important to work in the social determinants arena. So schools and libraries and child care services and intervention groups and others are a part of our leadership council. In 2015, the network, after being formed for just a few months, we were able to get our first grant, and we performed our first community needs assessment. It was a county-wide needs assessment. And from that, we identified that the 3 main areas of need are related to access to medical care, access to dental services, and access to mental health services. And so in order to move forward on those, we were able to work with the Aqua Valley Farm Workers. You want to go to the next slide? And they assessed the need in the Whitman County area, especially around childhood dentistry. And they are now, they purchased a building in Pullman, and they will open up a dental clinic next month to help expand the availability of dental services for all populations, but especially the underinsured and Medicaid population. So that was a great partnership that was made possible by the collaboration of the network, inviting them to come and consider Woodland County as a location, and now they're a part of our governing body on the network, so we're grateful for that. In the area of mental health services, we recognize that Washington State University has a internationally known expert in adverse childhood events studies and interventions. Chris Blodgett is a PhD psychologist and does this training throughout the country and even internationally. And so we were able to get some initial funding to do a pilot program of adverse childhood events and trauma-informed practice in one school in Pullman. And it's a 3-year program. It's a $40,000 a year investment in training teachers and staff. It's not just instructors, it's the whole staff in a school that need to understand how to recognize the aspects that could indicate some adverse childhood events and what helpful intervention techniques can be. This actually sets up what we're hoping to present to the Greater Columbia County Community Health as our social determinants of health project within the local health improvement network. So the network itself, that's what I've just been talking about, the local health improvement network. So we have identified the Pullman Regional Hospital Foundation as our fiscal agent to help manage, and I'm sure that there's some contracts that are going to be developed between them and the Greater Columbia County Community Health. Our voice of the community and how we've got community input is not only through our 2015 community health assessment. We're repeating that community health assessment this year, again as a health network. And we've also had a couple meetings of Medicaid consumer group that identified this area of mental health intervention as something that we think has a great possibility, and with particular focus on adverse childhood events intervention through the school systems. So that's what we're working on as part of our local health improvement network activities. And of course, those of you that are part of the local health improvement network, this is sort of the commitment that you make in following through with the work of the local health improvement network, and we're excited to be a part of that and sharing that information today. Okay. And then we've also taken on practice transformation. We were selected along with one of the primary care practices in Poland to participate in the practice transformation effort, implementing the primary care medical home model as a way to bring team-based care into our community, more bidirectional integration between primary care and behavioral health services. Jenna and Martine are helping us. We just had our first meeting on Monday. They drove up there early Monday morning. I drove down here early today. And so this patient-centered medical home is Blues Medical is the other group that's doing it. And within our group, we're going to have Blues River Counseling, the pediatric practice, the family medicine practice, and our psychiatry practice all working to bring this patient-centered medical home into greater focus over the next few years. And then finally, just a quick update. We're doing our 2018 community needs assessment. It's in the final stages of gathering that data. Some early results. If you want to go forward. We expect to have it finished by the end of this year. And then just a few early results to compare to previous years. Next slide. We've got about 295 of the 15 full responses. That's for the direct, not just the random survey, that's the ones that were contacted directly. And then you can see that we had a almost 26% response rate 3 years ago. It's at just under 20% now. Students compared to non-students, a little bit equal, a little more non-students this time around. Adequate access to health care, about the same percentage, but we did see some a reasonable drop in terms of higher sense of food security now. with Going Hungry being at only 2.2% in the yearly sample. And so we're not asking you to take the survey because you're not a part of Whitman County, but if you were, that's what you could do. We just wanted to take a look at what we're asking folks. So that's what the Whitman County Health Network and our association with Greater Columbia through the Local Health and Food Network is working on that.
So we could ensure that every LHIN, Local Health Improvement Network, has enough time to present. Let's leave questions to the end, so then we can ask the same question or different questions for the different organizations. Okay. Next is Southeast Washington. Hi, Jack.
Again, I'm Jack Davies. I'm with the Northwest Rural Health Network. We're proceeding sort of geographically here from east to west.
Yes.
And just very quickly, the Northwest Rural Health Network is a coalition of 15 rural health systems in many eastern Washington counties, including the ones represented both in Whitman and in this coalition, and I've been helping them develop. Who we are, this group came together as three very rural counties. So it's Sutton, Garfield, and Columbia. Just to emphasize rurality here, there's about 28,000 people across the three counties, most of whom are concentrated in the Clarkston area and Sutton. The rest are in Columbia and Garfield. These are the three county courthouses, two of which are really pretty, and then after in Clarkston, but it's functional. That's fine. What we have in the Southeast Health Washington Health Partnership is all the key partners. So it's the three health systems, Tri-State Memorial Hospital and their clinics, Garfield County Hospital and its primary care clinics, Columbia County Hospital and State and its clinic, all the behavioral health agencies, so it's Quality Behavioral Health, Blue Mountain Behavioral Health, it's the public health, all three public health departments across the counties, aging and long-term care, transportation, senior services, EMTs. So it's really all the key players across all three counties who have spent a lot of time attending monthly meetings, generally in Pomeroy. And we've been doing this for actually a little over a year. The group first came together around August, I think, of 2015, and began talking about what would it look like to bring these three counties together to start doing some collaborative work. We also make sure that we coordinate with Whitman County because there's a lot of movement back and forth across those borders as well as with Walla Walla. So there's some cross-link activities as well. And because there's obviously some commonalities across the three counties, there's also differences in those communities. So each of those counties are also having small groups separately, and then in our monthly meetings, we do coordination and planning. And Columbia County Public Health Services is the administrator of the LHIN funds, as opposed to the community health funds, which we'll talk about in a moment. So although we first began talking in late 2017, it was in early 2018 that we agreed to formalize as a LHIN. And we established charter at that time and have established MOUs with all participating organizations. Throughout 2018, we've really been working on identifying community needs, both within each of those communities, but also across all three counties. What have we got in common? What can we work on together? And then mapping those against Greater Columbia's project plans, the Healthcare Authority Toolkit, and all of those things. We've also been collaborating with Walla Walla and doing a multi-county community health needs assessment, as well as conducting a consumer survey. So later this year, we really have gone through, and this is quite recent, a prioritization process to think about what we're going to be using those community health funds for, what we're going to be asking that philanthropy to help select from. And this is not just focused on ACH activities, because this group also recognizes that there's a lot of work that can be done that maybe doesn't align directly with the ACH work that would benefit those communities. So we just earlier this month identified 5 areas of interest: healthy kids, telehealth, health psychology in particular, community-based care coordination, transportation, and navigators to promote insurance enrollment. So those are the ones we're going to be narrowing down and focusing on. We are also working on putting together a proposal for one of these first rural network development planning grants that could help with And the group has decided to focus that on mental health and health psychology. How can we establish a real framework for doing that in that region? As we move into 2019, we're going to be looking at implementing the projects that are selected on community health funds, and then continuing with collaboration and coordination with the Next slide. So we have selected as a third-party administrator Blue Mountain Community Fund in Walla Walla. Still working on the contracting issues with that and with the ACH. We've been doing this working on capturing consumer voice through a survey process, and it's more than it's not a random survey. It's more of a convenient survey because all of our partners have Medicaid clients and family members that they work with every day. So they've been handing this survey out to clients as they come into their, whether it's a clinic, whether it's a public health office, whether it is SUSC, CHAS. So handing those surveys out, getting a lot of feedback. And through that, we've identified 3 key issues that are common across all counties. We also identified a couple of specific ones by county, but across the 3, access to health care, access to health insurance, and then really the top one, housing and income challenges. Probably not surprising to all of you, I think these are pretty common across the region. We've then also gone through a process where we're working on mapping these needs to the project. So how well would a project that's focused on transportation, for example, help address some of these particular consumer identified needs? And then looking at how we flesh these out so we can present the Blue Mountain Community Fund with a list that they can then go through this list process and say, okay, for 2019, we want to fund these 2 or 3 things, whatever it turns out to be. So that's the process we're going through now. Next slide. So in terms of the contract deliverables, we've been working on that process of capturing consumer voice. We'll continue to do that. Concerning the priorities, as I was just talking about, not just through the consumer survey, but as we get the results on that consumer health, that community health needs assessment, the charter and the organizing documents. As I said, Columbia County Public Health is serving as the administrator and is helping be the primary lead with GCACH on this. And that's it. On the contact for the group, we're also Martha Landman, who's the administrator for the town of Columbia.
Thank you. Next is Walla Walla Blue Mountain Regional Health Network.
I'm Maureen Linder. I work at the Walla Walla County Department of Community Health. I'm the assessment and communications coordinator there. And I help coordinate communications and assessment for the Blue Mountain Regional Community Health Partnership, which covers Walla Walla County, and we also, as Jack said, do a lot of regional collaboration with Southeast Washington and Columbia County. Our membership is comprised of a lot of different sectors from around the community. We do have 92 contacts on our roster right now, and we have regular participation from a diversity of community organizations, so business, different government entities, education, healthcare, so the hospitals and a lot of the clinics in town, housing resources, communication, planning, and a lot of non-profit and this past year, we've been doing a lot of different stuff. In January, we started working with Community Council in Walla Walla to do together for a community health indicators project, which involves taking some information from projects Community Council has done in the past and looking at how we can bring data to that, because it was information about what the community cared about, and they weren't necessarily informing what's really happening. Perception-based. So what we did for that was we brought together subcommittees to look at a lot of that information and figure out specific indicators that we could bring. And we found data for that, brought that back to the community, and got feedback on what surprised them, what was concerning, and just some asset mapping to figure out kind of what current efforts we're working to address some of these things. And we use that to feed into a little bit into our community health needs assessment process, which transitions us to current efforts. And we are just now completing our community health needs assessment, and we're working on distributing that this week and next week so that we can use it for community health improvement plan, which we will be starting next week. But for the health assessment, we use data from that indicators project and also indicators that we use in past assessments. And we combine them into this assessment, and it looks at social determinants of health, risk factors, and leading causes of death and health outcomes. And there is a really strong focus on social determinants of health because we all know how important that is. And yeah, we're working on distributing the results for that now. And next week we are moving into our community health improvement plan. And within this next week, we'll be distributing a survey about the health assessment so we can get some feedback about it in advance of our report session next week. Also at the moment, we're working on our consumer voice survey. We just got that sent out last week, and we've had some hiccups, but we are working on collaborating with a lot of the local organizations to figure out the best way to get it to their clients and the population we're really trying to reach right now. Yeah, so in the future, we're really transitioning into that community health improvement plan. We have a meeting next Thursday where we are planning on picking priorities for the CHIP and maybe like moving into some subcommittee work and selection strategies. We're working with the steering committee right now to figure out the best process for that. And yeah, so for the next few months, we are hoping to really work through that CHIP process, come up with really good strategies to adjust the priorities we pick next week, and come up with a really good implementation and evaluation plan to make sure those strategies happen. And just to, I've mentioned this already, but just to go through how we're working with the Community Health Fund Initiative, we are doing that consumer engagement survey that I mentioned to capture the consumer voice. We're hoping that the CHIP process gives us some really good social determinants of health priorities based on how we're kind of steering that process. And then as far as selection of third-party administrator, we have reached out to the Mountain Community Foundation in Southeast Washington, and we're also ironing out kind of the logistics of that and how it's going to work. And as far as contract deliverables, again, we are capturing the consumer voice of that survey. We will have priorities towards the end of the year, early January, after the community health improvement plan process is completed. We do have a charter for our group, and we are working with the county finance department to provide reports for financial stability. And I think that about covers everything that we are doing right now.
Up next, Benjamin Franklin Community Health Alliance. This is exactly what I, yes, yeah.
Detail without even looking. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kirk Williamson. I'm the program manager for the Benton Franklin Community Health Alliance. I'm also its only staff at this moment. And by way of introduction, I'm a recovering broadcaster who has flunked retirement twice. The Alliance started out actually in the mid-1990s as an effort to build a cancer center in the Tri-Cities. We have 3 hospitals, 3 different orientations, and the one thing we knew is that they couldn't get along. So a group of community leaders got together and essentially created a sandbox where they could politically play safely, and where it was not safe to play outside that sandbox. Ultimately, resulted in the cancer center. They looked around and figured out that, gee, we can do good work here if we work together and stay in the sandbox. So they took on a number of other projects, and it eventually morphed into the Benton Franklin Community Health Alliance. This is our vision. Benton Franklin counties are vibrant communities in which all individuals, regardless of circumstances, experience good health. So we've done most of the work already. We've signed a contract with the ACH, met the first requirements, partly because we already had them. In essence, we're a 501c3. We have a bank account, actually has money in it. We received the check, our first check at least from the ACH. selected a third-party administrator, and like the rest of the LINs, it's in negotiation with the ACH for final contract. Our consumer voice is a little bit in a different sync. The first health needs assessment was done in 2013, and then again in 16, and the CHIP was done in 2014 and 17. One of the differences from the CHNA from 13 to 16 is they added mental health to the mix as a priority in Benton and Franklin counties, which, by the way, are about 300,000 people and growing faster than any of us can keep track of. What have we done since we improved the website, for one thing? And it looks a little bit more like, as you expect, a little bit more like the ACH's website. And we've added the top left-hand picture. It has to do with the state DOH opioids project. And those are our sponsoring organizations, the partner organizations on the bottom. That's where most of our money comes from, and also those folks are represented on an executive board. Right now, since two of those 6 entities have changed hands, changed ownership, we're still waiting to hear how that will affect our community. Next. I said we added mental health. One of the things we've done is our behavioral health committee has been very busy and created a brochure not about who you call, but how to think about and talk about mental wellness. And that's on our website. Anyone can download and print it, anyone in this room or anyone else. You're welcome to it. The next steps, we're working with Tri-City Community Health to share demographic data and also to conduct a short-term survey as we begin to identify priorities. You also heard we have a large refugee community in the Tri-Cities, and we'll be working to identify the needs of some of the refugee communities, which are not typically Hispanic, to enrich our approach. One of my flunking retirements was as a substitute teacher, and what I found is my first school I taught in was a kindergarten class that had 22 kids in 5 languages: English, Spanish, Russian, Arabic, and Somali. I found out that Arabic and Somali are not similar. I thought they were, they're not. Then we decided last spring, we had a cluster of suicides, deaths by suicide about a year ago, that really kind of shook the community. We said, what can we do? And a group of community leaders were talking about it, and we realized that a lot of what we do, and people in this room, I think, will recognize that, is we talk to each other about the stuff we worry about, but we don't really reach out often and to take that message in places where it isn't expected. So we said we were going to go talk about suicide where people don't normally talk about suicide. 3 of us addressed more than 500 Kiwanis and Rotary Club members over the course of a week. Mark Lee had some of the wallet cards that we created that we handed out. Then on one day, the day of the walkabouts talk about suicide, we also had a couple of college kids who lost a couple of friends in that cluster of suicides, arranged a handgun safe giveaway. They gave away 475 handgun safes, including instructions on how to use it and other gun locks in 2 hours at Rancho Homes. Amazing event. And then, next slide, please. We created that graphic that businesses could print out and use with their employees. We used it through the Chamber of Commerce's e-blast on 2 separate occasions. Reached a lot of people that, again, we wouldn't have normally reached. Next steps for us in the next couple of weeks, and in fact next week, it's good to see Captain Crowley and Captain Carspeth here. We will be meeting with the EMS leaders from throughout the area and folks from Qualis, and we'll talk about why this 2-county area leads the state at number 1 in 30-day hospital readmissions, which is a significant issue and probably more than anything else tied to social determinants of health. We don't think that EMS providers are the problem, but we think they see the solution. And so we're going to work on that. Sharon Brown, on a statewide TIP line. We don't know where that's going to go yet. We're pulling together a kind of a summit meeting to look at it. OKTSA is the one in Michigan that really shows some promise about providing a community TIP line rather than just focusing the problem on the schools. So that's who we are. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, who's representing Yakima?
So welcome to the Yakima County Healthcare Coalition. This is our logo that we just adopted, one of our projects earlier this year. And as you can see here, we have representation from lots of different sectors and organizations throughout the Yakima Valley. We also provide electronic access to the meetings, so we have a fair number of our members that are participating via GoToMeeting so that they don't have to drive the distance if that's a challenge for them. So just as kind of a little bit of background, our coalition actually started in 2002. We were founded by community members, but also Representative Mary Skinner, who was a longtime representative in our state legislature, had come and talked to a group of us at a time when we were particularly challenged with access to health services and health care about prioritizing the needs of the Yakima Valley. So we were a collection of primary care clinics, of hospitals, of pharmacies, long-term care facilities, and we developed several position papers during those first few years. When I was preparing for this, it was really a trip down memory lane about how much we had accomplished during those first few years. But white papers that were developed collectively that we all agreed on particular services that you can see here on the list. So everything from access to hospital care. If you were in healthcare there was a brief period of time when Medicaid clients were asked to pay a $2 copay if they went to the hospital. Didn't do a lot of good, and it went away in about a year. It was less than a year because it didn't meet the needs that they had anticipated. Medicaid interpreting was fairly new as a brokered service, and so we spent a lot of time developing our position papers around that area, and then things like prenatal care and support and public health, and then at the time the 1115D waiver that was being discussed. So you can see our mission here. That was how it first began. Yakima is disproportionately affected by both uninsured as well as Medicaid population. And we're, my organization is the lead organization for Health Plan Finder for navigators. We have partnerships with Farmers Clinic, Community Health of Central Washington, the hospitals, and the health district up in Ellensburg, Kittitas County. And over the since the beginning of 2013, our network of navigators has enrolled over 200,000 people in Medicaid. So a significant amount of work to try to reach out, but in spite of that, we're still the most uninsured county in the state, is what the Office of Financial Analyst says. So we have some work to go, but we've accomplished a lot to this point. So we had updated our charter earlier this year, and much of what we had developed in 2002 was incorporated into the charter because we still see our role in the community as trying to increase access for our Medicaid population as well as our uninsured population, and collectively make priorities and choose those issues that we think most affect the people that most of us are very involved with. So this year, focusing on what we've been doing, we typically either start or end each meeting with what my co-chair Dan Ferguson refers to as brief and sassy. And so this is really about networking because we do come from lots of different parts of the valley, but also different sectors. And so making sure that we're all aware of what our partner organizations are doing, what services they have to offer, if they've got anything new. Some of it is around professional development. Much of it, obviously, workforce issues, and then any other programs that we think could affect the people that we serve. So we've had activities at those meetings. A few months ago, we had the 3 community health centers that are in Yakima County all shared their current efforts around social determinants and how we collect that information. We all have a little different approach, but
one of the activities in Yakima County, and it's sort of on a slow hold right now, but we did have presentations about that. Health Services Authority Tax, which is new for Yakima County, and then our consumer engagement strategies and developing our plan around having gained consumer voice. We also had a presentation by the Northwest Regional Primary Care Association, who had done a national survey around community health workers, and so staff called in and shared those results with our group. And then we've been meeting about integrated managed care in Yakima County. One of our most recent efforts or meetings, we asked the behavioral health providers to come and talk about what that means to them and how it's going to affect us. So when we got to talking about what we were going to do for consumer engagement, because the community health centers particularly had been using some different variety of tools, we took a social determinant survey that's called PREPARE, and it's PRA, not PRE, if you decide to look it up. But it was piloted about 5 years ago by our national association, and then made available free for probably the 5 largest electronic health record systems that community health centers use. And so we had some experience with this, and so we took that tool and actually developed it into a SurveyMonkey survey and added an additional question on it. So the tool itself is available in paper as well as electronic. In our clinics, it averages for an English-speaking client about 5 minutes to take, and for a Spanish-speaking client about 10 minutes. And so it's a very efficient survey. We put it on SurveyMonkey, and then we distributed the electronic link to the SurveyMonkey around to all of the partner organizations. So when we talked about consumer voice, we decided that rather than convene a new group of consumers or a new venue, that we all had lots of outreach between our health and social service organizations. And so we took the survey out into the communities, the farmers markets, parent nights, back to school events, and in the course of in the course of 6 weeks, we collected over 500 surveys. So we feel like we got a really broad base of responses, and of the respondents, we made it available to everyone, and more than 75% of the people who completed the surveys were Medicaid clients. So we met our objective in doing that. And this is just a paper copy of what it looks like. So there are several categories here. You can't see this, but several categories here around social determinants of income and housing, languages, and then from here, then we converted it electronically. So this is just an example of what the Prepare tool actually looks like. So at the end of that 6 weeks, we took a look. We added one question at the end of the survey, and said, basically, this survey has asked many of the questions that can affect a person's ability to be healthy. What would you say is the biggest barrier that would help you and your family improve your own health? And please rank them from highest need, biggest need to lowest need. And so of those 600 surveys, what came out on top was housing, followed closely by employment, and then education and transportation, and emotional and physical, or emotional and mental health. So, and our next steps are we have 2 candidates for the third-party administrator, both interested, both very active organizations in our community, and so we will probably be finalizing that at our next coalition meeting, and then waiting for the contract to be finalized, and then we'll be issuing the RFPs to address those priorities soon.
County Health Network, Dr. Mark.
Thank you. Next slide. Oh, wait. So, quick orientation. We've gone from east to west. We started with Whitman. If you imagine the map of the ACH being Snoopy on his doghouse, we started at the toe. We came back around Yakima Nation's the ear, and now we're up to the snot. Kitsap County is 46,000 people in 2,300 square miles. 20,000 of those are in Ellensburg, about 12,000 in Cle Elum. It works out that for most of the rest of the county, the population density is on the order of 5 per square mile.
So as we think about social determinants of health, one resource that we have a lot of is JERC, which actually, I bring that up kind of pointedly because I think I learned that's going to be my takeaway from today for us. So how did we come into existence? A lot of you have heard this story before, so I'll make it brief since we're tight on time. We had what was perceived as a crisis impending in Kittitas County where we were about to lose half of our skilled nursing facility beds. We had 2 nursing homes, both owned by the same company, and they announced they were going to close one. People saw it in the paper, there was uproar, and a coalition formed to address the displacement of these poor seniors. It included community paramedics from both of our paramedic services, excuse me, in the upper county, which for those of you who've driven through Kittitas, as you're coming from west to east, about the time you lose all the fans, you're in the lower county. Those fans actually don't generate power, they generate the wind that keeps elements for freezing. So in the lower county, we had KVFR, in the upper county, Hospital District 2. So 2 community paramedic services, social work from the hospital, representatives from the 2 clinics that see safety net people, KVH, actually 3 clinics, our internal medicine and family medicine clinics, and then CHCW. Aging and long-term care, admission coordinators from 3 assisted livings in town and from the remaining SNF. County Health wasn't there yet, I don't think, but Liz will correct me if I'm wrong on that. Bottom line, we amassed all of this skills and then discovered the real truth was that both buildings were half full and you just kind of moved everybody from one building to the other. But all of this talent had come together spontaneously. What they found out was that there were problems that we all shared that we could address better together. And so this ad hoc community care coordination team, that started calling it the A-Team, has been meeting every Tuesday afternoon for the last 3.5 years. And so far we've had plenty of work to do. And in fact, it was taking enough of our time that we thought we ought to do something to make it sustainable. So we applied for a HRSA Rural Network Planning Grant, specifically around the idea of care coordination. What we found in the course of bringing people together, and at this point the work expanded, it included Jorge and Luis, it included county health, it included comprehensive, it included Ellensburg School District and Central Washington University, City of Ellensburg, County of Kittitas, at the commissioner's level. We found that we could do a lot more, and that by focusing on the population that we were seeing in the A-Team, the people that had already failed, we were really dealing with the downstream effects of social determinants, and if we hoped to make a difference, we had to get upstream. And so then we got ambitious, and the network, as part of our planning grant process, said that our strategic plan will be the result of the county's CHACHA, County of Less Than, we don't use the names, just do CHACHA, it's catchier. The last community health assessment, community health improvement plan had been done in 2012. We restarted the process in 2017 and completed it in June of this year. That plan, the development of the community health assessment, involved pulling people online, in practices, in stores, at farmers markets. And by taking that shotgun approach, we got a lot of information. We got information about our healthcare system. Almost everybody recognized what you've all heard, that access to primary care, access to mental health, and access to dental care were huge. In terms of social determinants, we heard things like housing. Housing in Ellensburg is ridiculously expensive. Why? Because there isn't enough housing at the university, which displaces students into the community. And students are singularly divorced from economic reality. So you get 4 or 5 students together, and they go to the bank of mom and dad, and they rent a house for twice what an average worker can afford. And the university's been partnering with the community to try to address that by increasing their capacity. also by working with us to develop alternative models. Other things that we didn't expect, that everybody in the community knew that we hadn't figured out. We have a critical shortage of daycare. And if you don't have affordable daycare, mom can't work. Seems really obvious when the public points it out. Lastly, there was a perceived, and this was present in the 2012 CHA. The public, we like to think that we've developed all of these great systems so that we move people seamlessly from primary care. They go home. If there's a crisis, they call EMS. They go to the hospital, and things go well in the hospital. They go back to the SNF or they go home. The public is acutely aware of how fractured those communications are. To the extent that John Q. Public for the last 5 years has been telling us we get a task that we need to coordinate care, which was kind of cool since that's where this all started. What that creates for us is an opportunity to use the A-team as the nucleus of a care coordination network where we can eliminate some of the redundancies so that you don't have a case manager at Molina doing the same work as the case manager at CHCW, the same work as the case manager at Comprehensive. And oh, by the way, Kittitas Valley Fires made 15 runs on the patient. They went to the emergency room once and nobody knows about it. So that's where we started. Where are we now? We're incorporated as a 501c3. We're participating in a number of projects with ACH, one of which is a data pilot that we're hoping will be generalizable throughout the region. Basically what it is a referral management system that also allows real-time data collection and access so that when medics show up at a house, they can call up and see if a patient's being case managed, if so by whom. They can put in information about the run. I can see it in the office. If the problem is that somebody's falling for lack of a ramp, a community paramedic in the field can generate a work order, take a picture of the stairs, put it into the system, send it to the shop class at Ellensburg High, have them make the ramp, the volunteers come out and install. There's some complexities in that. The information that the medics need is different from the information that I need. It's different from the information that the kid in the shop class should have. So we have to have security around that to be compliant. But that's an exciting project that we've got going forward. Other things, now I need to resort to notes. So as we've envisioned the network, KCHN is seen as an umbrella or the backbone. We have a leadership council and a board that support it. On the board, we have representation from Molina, from the city, the county, county health, university, Ellensburg schools, Comprehensive, Valley Psychological Associates, services. My wife will tell me it's her practice. Valley Psych is the only psych provider in the county that sees Medicare. And Comprehensive is about the only one that sees Medicaid. That's a little bit fractured. So we have a care coordination work group. Under that, we have the A-team and an IT team that is working on the data project. We have a mental health work group that includes about 50 individuals that have come to a variety of community fora trying to address the rash of suicides that we've seen in our county. We're trying to catch up to that #1 status. One of the things that we've seen a rash of is we're sending a lot more kids from Central to inpatient psych in Yakima in the last year and a half. And we aren't sure why it is. We just know that we don't have the resources to deal with it, and we need to fix that. Other groups that we envision down the line, we have an ACES group that is getting off the ground. Workplace health is one of the issues that people told us they want us to address. We don't have the bandwidth for that now, but we have it on the radar screen, so that we'll get there. We have a network infrastructure work group that has sub-teams on financial sustainability, trying to make sure that this isn't just an exercise in altruism, but actually a service that we can offer and continue to offer. And network recruitment, recognizing that by virtue of being a small rural county, once you got the university and the hospital, you have the two biggest employers in the county. You have the three biggest employers in the county. The next biggest is Anderson Hay, which says a lot about our county. Although I think Buzz may be giving them a run for money. At least they're getting higher. I don't know. So the idea is that what we kind of recognized as we went through the planning grant process was when we had the first meeting, it was kind of like blind men assessing an elephant. If you've ever heard that parable? A bunch of blind men are presented with an elephant. Afterwards, they compare their notes. One guy says an elephant is a wall. It's massive. It's so broad I couldn't span it with my arms. Next guy says huge, yes, but massive, like a tree. Next guy says round, but not solid, more like muscular, like a snake. This guy says, well, not like a snake, more like a rope. And the next guy says, not flexible at all, more like a spear. And the last guy says, you're all nuts, an elephant's a fan. We all kind of had that experience of the patient, and we all came into the room knowing that we had the front row seat to the most important moments of the patient's life. And I think what we learned from forming our network was humility. The recognition that who's at the center of the patient-centered medical home is patient. And the rest of us are very different moments. And none of us alone have the resources or the bandwidth or the tools to address everything. So my insight from this, I live in a county where one of our biggest identified needs is income inequality and food insecurity. And what do we have in abundance? Dirt. What does he have? Seeds. It's the simple stuff like that that I think is going to really move social determinants. Thank you.
One of the many things our region has in common is that we're all addressing the social determinants of health. And everywhere, when I go to every meeting, that conversation is brought up. And also, there are efforts in every area about ACEs. In the last couple of weeks, I've attended 2 conferences on ACEs. I just got back yesterday from the conference in San Francisco where Dr. Lisa spoke. And it was amazing. And also Dr. Nadine Burt Harris, she was there. She introduced Dr. Nadine and she also spoke it. And one of the things Dr. Nadine mentioned is in doing that research, those 70,000 people they researched, that without any special treatments, that population, after they followed up with them and they interviewed them again, they noticed there were some improvements in their health in some measures. Without anything, because just knowing what they had really helped them improve their physical health as well. So I think we're going to do some wonderful things here in our region, especially when we're going to the core of the issues here. So now it's time for questions. Local health improvement networks, you have questions for each other. Community-based organizations, you have any questions and comments? For example, informing your network, what have you learned about yourselves? You see any hope, improvement? So just give me what you can ask. You can make any comment or ask any questions you might have for anybody. Oh, I think that. Well, everyone did a wonderful job. Lauren, can we do the GCACH report? Okay. We didn't know whether we were going to have time. I think we're going information or further update who wants to do that.
Hello, everyone. So I'm one of the two practice transformation navigators. We became our kickoff, we saw us in our caves and just having a bunch of fun. But October is another busy month for us. We've been going out to some of the primary care organizations and hospitals that are doing our patient-centered medical home transformation, and we do our kickoff meetings. It got called a road show yesterday, and that was really appropriate because we go out and we explain what we're doing with the ACH. Some people who are in those meetings, they're not as familiar with the ACH, and usually what we get is we got this letter from Carol Moser saying that we've been selected, and we're very excited, but we have no idea why we're excited. So we go out and we explain that to them and we explain next steps. Also, we've been working with some of the behavioral health agencies still with the INC transition. Also, they get the benefit of doing some practice transformation work with us as well. So we've been doing workflows, learning EHRs. So we're very involved with the clinic in Tri-Cities and working with them on just NextGen. So standard operating procedures. We leave our Friday meetings like excited and with a headache because that's how deep we're going into the EHR. And also this month we'll be doing just some learning. So we're going to a BHO symposium in Yakima for IMC and also a Medicaid symposium in Seattle next week. So we get to be on the receiving end of some of that learning. So it's been very busy.
So my job is very exciting. I get to distribute the money to you all, which is fun for me. Writing the contracts is challenging sometimes, but the navigators are helpful with that. And Diane Haley is not here, and Sam. I think we have a really great team, and Carol gets really excited every Friday when she sees the numbers go up. So thank you all for helping get the contract signed and being patient with us for the distribution.
Lauren, so who wants to speak about that?
I can. So, the Tri-Cities Alliance for Common Good will be gathering a panel of experts on addiction to share their knowledge to jumpstart a conversation about what people in our community can do to put an end to opioid abuse and start healing our families and neighborhoods. They'll be meeting Monday, October 29th at the Northwest United Protestant Church. So if you want to attend, there's the address. And then Collective Medical Technologies is hosting 3 webinars for Eddie and Pre-Manage, and I included the information for both of those webinars.
Well, yeah, Diane is not here, and I don't think any one of us can speak to that, right? So we're going to have to skip it, sorry. Lord, yeah, just get, well, we know that already, right? We did a great job on our semi-annual report. 100% full. I spoke a little bit about this. TCACH is exploring what to do about ACEs specifically, not just all the social determinants, but also ACEs specifically. And it's very likely going to revolve around awareness. Because that's one thing I learned the last couple of weeks. When people become aware of what ACEs are, and they mentally come up with their own score, and then they ask, you know, what score my children might have, you know. So that really does motivate people to do something about it, to seek help. So we're probably going to do something around awareness. And when I was down in San Francisco, I searched and searched and searched. There were over 1,000 participants and presenters. And is anyone doing anything, you know, community-wide media awareness? And no one's really doing anything like that. Everyone is training, teachers training, healthcare providers, but no one's really reaching directly. And when Dr. Politi made it very, very clear that just being aware of the ACEs and generalizing that yourself, that helps. So we're going to do something around around awareness. What's the next category?
That's it.
Oh, that's it? Okay. Yes.
One more question. I know we're going to look more and dig more into this. My goal is, or my ask is, I know a lot of our community partners who work with agencies, that if we're doing general awareness, that's actually focused on resilience as 3/4 of the conversation when we do awareness.
Exactly. It's not half. Because people will recognize what resilience they already have. You know, because people will say, this happened to me, and I'm fine. Well, yeah, you also had strong adult support around people that care. So yeah, it would be both, really. So, okay, any last comments, questions? We gave ourselves some cushion to do, and I think that we managed to finish within time. All right, well, thank you very much. Our next meeting is
It is November 15th.
November 15th.
That's
December. December's canceled, but it's still on for November. Good try, Ron.
But it's a terrible.